Welcome back, guys. In today's video, I'm going to talk about my collecting style, my collecting philosophy, pretty much the timepieces that I love right now based on design, the brands, and just overall what I love and what catches my eyes currently. This is something that changes from time to time. It changes in all of us. Sometimes we might go after sports pieces, then we might be into dress watches. So I'm going to let you guys know currently what I'm into right now. And I want you guys to share down below in the comment section the collecting style that you guys currently have. And as I go along the video, you guys are going to understand exactly what I'm talking about. But before I get into talking watches, I want to mention the previous video that I posted of me reacting to Miss Massey being shot by one of the police officers in Illinois. If you guys saw on my channel, it's broken down into 3 categories: talking watches, vlogs, and public interviews and reactions. So there's 3 categories it's broken down into. Now, majority of my content is talking watches. And it's because I love talking watches. It's one of my hobbies, it's one of my passions. But there's other things that I'm into. There's other topics that I would like to talk about. And I don't want to have 3-4 different channels. So guys, don't be scared. I know some of you guys might have been alarmed, like, what is this? Like, he's not talking watches. He's just reacting to some, legal crime type stuff. And that's not really what the channel's focus is really talking watches. But I do like to branch out and bring you guys some other content that you will enjoy. So check that video out if you haven't checked it out yet. I gave my point of view on that shooting, that unjustifiable shooting that took place in Illinois on July 6th of this month. So guys, don't be scared. I am going to be coming with talking watches every week, probably 2 videos a week. Some of you guys might not even know. Sometimes I make 2-3 videos in a day and I edit these videos throughout the week. That's how I'm so consistent with letting you guys, bring you guys content that you're going to enjoy. So show some love, guys, and give the videos a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Now, let's get into the video, talking watches, where I'm going to let you guys know my collecting style currently, my collecting philosophy, however you want to term it. And I want you guys to share your experience, your ways of collecting down below. Now, let's get into the full video. So when I'm talking about my collecting style, here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the timepieces that I love to collect, the timepieces that catches my attention. And the first point is that I like collecting undervalued timepieces. These are timepieces that most likely, guys, of course, they won't be hyped. They're not mainstream in a lot of cases. You won't see them on many people's wrists often. And a good example of a timepiece that's undervalued, that's understated, is my Omega Constellation that I'm wearing right now. This is a timepiece that's loved amongst the Omega collectors, the Omega enthusiasts. They also have a nickname for it. They call it the Connie. But it is definitely considered an undervalued, underrated timepiece. If you look at it on a grand scheme, look at the big picture of the timepieces out there. This is a timepiece that I'm not going to see on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. Actually, on an ever basis, I haven't seen an Omega Constellation 168.005, a vintage, even a Seamaster. I haven't seen this on anyone's wrist. And I'm outside. So with that being said, this is a good example of a timepiece that's undervalued, that's underrated. And I call it undervalued because the prices are reasonably low. Recently, they've been creeping up. I've seen some auction results where this timepiece sold for $4,000, $3,000. I purchased this for around $1,500, but I thought I got a deal when I saw mostly they were selling for $2,000. So I thought $1,500 was a deal. But now I'm seeing prices for like $3,000, like I said, $4,000. And I'm like, is this real? Like, are these accurate results on these auctions? But apparently they are. But anyways, guys, this is definitely an undervalued and underrated timepiece. Another example of a timepiece that I've collected that I consider to be undervalued is the Rolex Explorer 2. That timepiece, guys, I enjoyed it, but I recently made a video telling you guys why I sold the timepiece, and it was because I didn't use the function. I didn't use the function that the timepiece was, truly made for. Now, this is a timepiece in the Rolex lineup. This is a model in the Rolex lineup that I do see as the undervalued, the underdog amongst all of them. Typically, you'll see most people collect the Submariners, the GMTs, the Daytonas, the Datejust, the Day-Date. Those are the timepieces that predominantly most people go after. But the Explorer is one of those that most people don't mention. But you'll see them out there. But they are amongst the Rolex models considered the most undervalued and underrated. I love the timepiece. I had the black dial. You guys see it in multiple videos that I've made, but I had to let it go. It's undervalued because if you compare it to the GMTs in the Rolex lineup, it's the cheapest. And when I mention this category as the underrated timepieces, the undervalued timepieces, this is not just because I'm cheap.
He ain't lying.
I'm proud to say that I'm cheap, I'm frugal, but it's that it's almost like having the eye to spot things before people, the mainstream, spots it and see the value in it. That's what I kind of mean as undervalued. I think the Rolex Explorer is a timepiece that eventually over time is just going to increase in value and popularity. And that's what always happens, especially when it turns into almost like a vintage. Once the vintage Explorer turned vintage, it became very popular amongst the watch community. So I think the same thing is going to happen to the Explorer that I recently sold. And yeah, it's definitely undervalued and understated. And the list goes on, guys, of undervalued timepieces that I've collected. I've collected IWC Schaffenhausing. I've collected a Wachmann chronograph. Some of you guys might not even have heard of that name before, the Wachmann. You guys are probably thinking the Walkman, the headset, the cassette player. But no, they have a Wachmann chronograph that I had. That was my first chronograph timepiece that I've had, and it was fun while it lasted. I didn't really use the chronograph function for, any reason. I just kind of played around with it when I was bored. I'll take it off my wrist and play with it. It's not a timepiece. It's not a brand that you'll hear often, a Wachmann. But it's definitely a beautiful timepiece, and I enjoyed it while I had it. Another timepiece was a Wittenauer. These are brands that I'm mentioning right now that most people probably haven't heard about. But Wittenauer designed some beautiful timepieces back in the day. This was a vintage timepiece. And this is leading into my second collecting style that I have, which is collecting small timepieces, small cases. And this Wittenauer was, I believe, like a 32 millimeter size case. That was the smallest timepiece that I've ever owned. And I don't even have a picture of it, but I'll kind of find something online that resembles this timepiece. It was a rare timepiece. It's not something that you'll see every day. And it was a timepiece that I enjoyed because it was a small case. You guys know I love small vintage timepieces. And another example of a small fine vintage timepiece is my 34 millimeter size Omega Constellation with the pipe hand dial, with the dogleg lugs, and overall it's beautiful. I just like and love how small timepieces fit on my wrist. Even though I have a large wrist, I have a 7-inch wrist, a little over 7 inch, but these timepieces, I do appreciate how they look on my wrist because I could see the case and I could see the bracelet. I do enjoy timepieces, not just the actual head of the watch, but also the bracelet, whether it's a metal bracelet or a leather bracelet or a rubber bracelet. These are factors of a timepiece that I enjoy as well. Not just the head of the watch or the case of the watch. I love how everything flows on a timepiece. Now, the third and last point that I want to mention of my collecting style currently is timepieces that have the date function on it. Now, some of you guys may know that my grill watch that I want to get is a Rolex Day-Date with the day and the date. Those are the two indicators that I love and actually use on a daily basis on a timepiece, is the day and the date. So one day I'll get a Rolex Day-Date where I'll have the day and the date. But for now, most of the timepieces that I collect only have the date, which is fine because I reference the date all the time, every day. For some reason, like I always got to remember what date it is. And that's kind of like my collecting pattern so far. I've seen most of the timepieces that I've collected have the date function. It's something where I've over time realized, why buy a timepiece with a function that you don't use? I know now we're looking at timepieces in a way where we don't even use it to tell the time. But guys, I refer to my watch for the time, even though I might have my phone right there sitting next to me. This strangely, sometimes I look at my watch and then I look at my phone, or I look at my phone and then I look at my watch, just to make sure that the watch is keeping up with the time. But I do enjoy looking at my watch to tell the time and using the date function, to know what date it is. So that's pretty much my collecting styles. Like, I'll be online, I'll be looking at different auctions, and I'll be looking for timepieces that have the date function. I'll be looking for small timepieces, small cases from 32 to 34, 35, 36. But that's kind of like my collecting style right now. I want you guys to comment down below and let me know the timepieces that really catch your eyes right now. It could be sports pieces, sports models. It could be chronographs that you actually go after. It could be the type of dials that you like. It could be like, you like white dials, lighter dials, you like dark dials, you like pattern dials, you like bracelets, you like leather straps. Comment down below and let me know what is your style of collecting right now. And some people just don't have a collecting style. Sometimes it's just whatever your eye, whatever catches your eye, and that's normal too. That's cool. But for me, that's pretty much the three things that I could say that I go after when I'm looking at timepieces. It's undervalued timepieces. So pretty much timepieces where I'll get a deal, uh, because not many people are going after the timepiece currently. Maybe eventually it'll become high valued and most people trying to go after it. That usually happens. Smaller timepieces, small cases. I do love small vintage timepieces. And the third point is date functions. I love timepieces that have date functions. So guys, I'm going to leave the video here. Hopefully you enjoyed this content. Guys, give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And stay tuned for some more videos.